Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Thanks so much for being here. Hope that all's well in your world. I know it's not a very predictable time right now in this crazy world, but you're doing great. Just know that you've got one more day on this planet to do something wonderful, and that's how I look at every single day. Hope that you do too. But I'm having my morning cup of tea as I always do, and it's so lovely to just know I'm sharing it with like hundreds of you, thousands out there in the world. And many of you are drinking coffee, and that's totally cool. But I'm just having my beautiful green tea and in my lovely mug. I think this is my favorite mug of all time. I bought one of these. It was on sale, like end of the year, and I wish I'd bought 10 of them. I love it. But anyway, that's how treasures are. They're one of a kind. So anyway, I do hope that you're well. I wanted to mention that today's show is sponsored by International Living. International Living is a company that we're working with to talk about retirement abroad. I mean, you may be getting to a point in your life where you want to move on. You want to try something a little bit different, perhaps live abroad. You've done some traveling and you found that place that you think would be perfect to retire, but you just don't know enough about the reality. International Living has got people on the ground who are checking it out and making a list. And you can get a copy of their Global Retirement Index just by going to it's internationalliving.com and then /60 and me, and then just sign up for the index. And they'll send you an email. The first email you get back will have a link to that retirement guide. So it's a really good resource for you. But thanks to International Living. So the question today and the topic is very related to the whole idea of moving and either staying where you are or moving on to something a little different. Now, you're retired. Your children perhaps have left home and you're now by yourself in a big space that you don't really want. You could be with a partner or alone. It's all up to you, but you may be changing too. The place that you have lived all your life just may not be serving you anymore. It may not be nourishing your soul, as Julia Hubble said in an article about this topic. It's really, really powerful. And if it's not serving you, then is it time to move on? And moving abroad is one option. International Living can help you think about that and finding a whole new destination. Others just want to move from a city to a smaller place, or move from a smaller town to the city. It's a trend both ways. And actually, it's really quite fascinating. Co-living is another trend that is actually becoming more and more significant, especially in Europe, where people are living together, living in homes, sharing the space. But there's all different options that you've got. And I wanted to talk about a couple of those and just get your feedback on this. Like, what is your experience of thinking about moving? Now, retirement communities. Sure, they're a great way to make things a little simpler, downsize, forget about all the hassles of maintenance of a house and just move into a place that's designed for older people. There's activities planned and people your age, and you can do all kinds of cool things with, activities, dancing, card games, travel, all kinds of things. And some of these retirement communities are actually very cool. So that's one option. But the bottom line here is, or you can just stay in your own home. But the bottom line is here, you've got to do one thing first, very important, and that is you've got to downsize. You've got to get yourself to a place where you can be agile and move from place to place if you decide that's what you want to do. And you have to compare the relative costs. So in other words, you have to do some homework. You have to follow your heart as to what you think will be right, but then do some homework to look at, the home prices versus a rental price. The cost of retirement community versus living on your own or living with other people. Think about maintenance costs in a home, property taxes, homeowners costs. All these things, are to be like weighed up when you're thinking about staying in your home or moving into a rental or some other scenario. So you may need to consider where you want to live. What talks to you? Do you want to be near the sea? Do you want to be near the mountains? Do you love urban environment? You've got all these questions that you can ask yourself, and only once you've got that all answered, like where you want to live and what your financial boundaries are, then you can start making some choices, because you know then where you can. If you can't afford to buy a new house by the beach, if that's what you want, then you've got to eliminate all the stress around choice that is not realistic. So the first thing to consider then is, do you want a home an apartment, or a retirement community. And those are broad categories, because a home could be also like a big home, like the home that maybe you've lived in all your life. It could be a small home, or it could be, just a kind of a tiny house. It could also be an apartment, and that could mean a flat. It could mean like a studio apartment. It could mean something very spacious or something very small. So within all these categories, there's a range, a spectrum of choice. But retirement community is the final one. And we've talked a little bit about that. So, what about a house? Okay, unlimited storage space. You can fill it up as much as you want if you're a collector. You've got a private yard normally, or some kind of a garden space, and you've got the freedom to expand. So if you wanted to, for example, you wanted to get an RV and you wanted to travel around the country some of the time, you'd have a place to park it. It would be a house that had more options for you to travel. No landlord, and you can have pets. Those are the benefits of a home, and I think those are house. Apartment. Well, I live in an apartment. It's lock up and go. You basically can travel by just closing the door, locking the door, and knowing that in a week or 3 or 10, you come home and it's all the same. It's where it was, and you haven't had to worry about anything maintenance-wise, except maybe your plants have to be watered. But, it's usually peace of mind if you have security, for example, 24/7, or you have locked doors like we do. There's no long-term commitment. You can go stay in that place for 1 year, 20 years. It's as long as it's available, of course. So it's the peace of mind is related to the freedom that you might get in an apartment, and then of course a studio versus anything else. I live in a studio apartment, which is even easier, very small and easy to look after. Another thing about retirement communities, again, it's a lock up and go, because it's usually well looked after and maintained, and security is in place. You've got a gate in most cases, and you're in a building with people who are looking out for each other. So you're more of a community. You've got other people who can take a look out for you. And, so you in many cases, you've got like-minded people who enjoy the same things as you. So that's a definite plus, I think, if you choose the right retirement place. It's not always easy to find that place, but you've got recreation areas. It's usually got a gym. It's got buses that pick you up and take you into town sometimes. There's a spectrum of potential when you're talking about a retirement community. So just stop for a second there. So which one of those appeals to you? House, apartment, retirement community. And I'm going to add co-living. I'm going to add a fourth one, which is living with other women in a big house, or living in an apartment block where you have maybe some common areas and then your own space. Which one appeals to you the most? So I think that, the dilemma after you decide sort of which one of those options, if it's a house or apartment, I guess one of the other choices is rent versus purchasing. And, if you buy, it is a long-term commitment. You've got a mortgage to look after, and you might still be paying for that for many, many years. You've got to also look after all the landscaping, the maintenance of the property. If the roof starts to leak, or if you've got plumbing problems or sewage, whatever, you are responsible for that as the homeowner. If you rent, you've got low maintenance costs, that's true, but you have a landlord who is responsible for repairs and taking care of your place. But having a landlord isn't always the most perfect scenario either. So, with all of these options, there's pros and there's cons. And I've chosen to rent because I want to have more flexibility. I have owned property in my life, and I don't think I'd ever buy a house again now. Not that I would be able to afford one, but for me, renting works really, really well. And you just have to choose your landlord well, make sure that you have a contract, make sure that you have everything agreed so that there's no ambiguity, and just enjoy coming and going. But if you've got a big house and you like all those things we talked about, that's your choice. But I said at the beginning, the bottom line here is whatever you're doing right now at this time in your life, whether you are considering moving or not, it's a great opportunity to downsize and to simplify your life. And even if you're in a big house, take this opportunity to go out to the garage and undo all those boxes and Just donate or give away or use things that you've forgotten about. I think that there's lots of recycling, and I went down there this weekend to our recycling place, and we have a real very strong recycling consciousness or awareness here in Switzerland. But I gave away so many of not just clothing, but it was boxes and I don't know, just spare accessory living, cushions, things that I just don't. I have them in cupboards, even some sheets and things I'm going to take. They wash them all and find homes for them, and it's really cool. But I think that downsizing 101 is your next step for whatever choice you make in terms of the house. So, are you planning to move to a new living situation once you've retired? Will it be a house, apartment? Will it be retirement home or a co-living space? What have you got planned? What are you thinking about? Please share your comments in the section below. I know this is a topic that a lot of women are interested in, so let's have some engagement. It'd be really fun to do that, and hope that you get some inspiration from each other. Have a really, really cool day, everybody. Hope that you go out and do something good. And if you're thinking about moving, share your thoughts here. Let's have a conversation so that we can all learn, and tell us what, or if you're planning a new living situation when you're retired, what it's going to be. So have a wonderful day, everybody. We'll talk to you all again soon, but take care for now. Bye-bye.